Shalom, shalom, all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Ba'asham Yahweh Shai, Ba'asham Rakah Kwadash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of the great millstone, and salutations to all you sincere Kia. Once again, it's your brother Bawan. Shabbat Shalom with another video. And what I'm going into is recently recent debacle among the black manosphere, right? With just pearly things. And I know you Akim will probably know who she is. She's been blowing up big on YouTube. She's one of those, YouTubers that go into or that kind of manosphere, red pill type of talking points, right? Or recently she's come under fire because basically, as it is written in the scriptures, right, they speak loftily concerning oppression, and let me see whether I can get that preset, and that is the whole video right there, just going into this single preset. As it is written, they speak loftily concerning oppression. And let me get that. They speak loftily. Here it is. So this is the book of Psalm 73 verse 8. They are corrupt and speak wickedly concerning oppression. They speak loftily. And this is of course going into Esau, Edom, and how they try to make light of the conditions which our people had to go through, the causes, okay? Oh, you're not the Hebrew Israelite because all these causes that fell upon you don't actually apply to you. Deuteronomy 28 doesn't apply to you, even though it applies to you more, okay, and more frequently and in more succession than any other people, even though it's still applying to you to this day, where you have so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians that are experiencing, one or more of these close courses, and you can go through all the courses in Deuteronomy the 28th chapter and point to a specific group of so-called Negroes, Latinos, or Native American Indians that those things are happening to till this day. But yet you will still see Dr. Quas Brown, right? Dr. Michael Brown. I'll try to disrespect our or speak, I'll try to not, name call or nickname any of the people, any of the scoffers as little as possible. Okay. But basically, Dr. Quas Brown, and I did it again, but you have to bear with me. But Dr. Michael Brown, right, the Edomite, is claiming that even though we have, all the detailed records of these courses coming upon us, and we have proof that it happened to us, right? Because when you talk about yokes of iron, when you talk about being carried in ships, it is only a specific group of people that come to your mind, and it's not the who's, right? The 48ers and the little heart people. I have to say it that way because since the small hearts are under the courses, they are very the most oppressed and marginalized group on the earth, right? Any criticism or any thing that is spoken against them, right? Any anti-sem will have your video taken down because the whole world cares so much about how the small hearts are perceived and how they are treated, and how they are spoken about. But when it comes to Jake, you can say up and down, left and right, whatever the hell you want, and no backlash comes to you. And that is the case with this video right here, specifically with them just pearly things, because what happened was that she uploaded multiple videos, okay, making light of the oppression of our people. And she wasn't talking about the Hebrew Israelites or anything like that, just the regular old Edomite talking point of how slavery wasn't that bad and it happened to Edomites too, and you don't really need to be harping so heavily on the things that happened in the past. It's all in the past, it's all in the past. Let's all forget about it, that kind of thing. So let me just play the video.
After this is the face and the sound of ignorance on racism. This isn't knowledgeable racism. This isn't conscious racism. This is just ignorant. on our channel. I'm Italian. The only times I'm on time for things is when I like get the time wrong, when I think I'm supposed to be there way early.
And I also want to say this, that this is a video going into, this is a video responding to, a video that she uploaded and took down, right? Her interview with Nick Fuentes. And if you know Nick Fuentes, that's another devil right there, okay? And basically, she's already taken this video down. So the only way you can get this video is by watching a video of somebody else responding to this video. So this the channel that I'm using right now is the business, which is actually the channel that has brought this out, actually brought out this information, right? So now everybody's talking about it. Everybody that worked with just pearly things, right? All the big red pill black manosphere, that's what they call themselves, YouTubers that works with her have talked about it, they addressed it. Everybody in the whole like dealing with the red pill and the black manosphere as a whole that have to talk about it, because this is a that this has been blown up to a major deal, and of course it is a major deal. And the reason why I'm going into it is because this is an example of all the things they have been seen happening throughout all the years, with the way Esau Edom lies about history, revises history, right? He removed critical race theory, okay, which is actually like the elder Malcolm has says, critical race history and facts. He removed it from the schools. Okay, it doesn't want to teach about, what happened during the transatlantic slave trade. It doesn't want to teach about anything concerning our people, which is why now, if you tell Jake that, oh, well, we used to be ruling in Europe, right? You tell Jake about how we are the Israelites, okay, according to the scriptures. The majority of our people just look at you like you have two heads. And which is why you see all these Edomites, running and supporting Vocab and Dr. Michael Brown, because they want to continue to live in their deceit and don't want to accept the truth, right? They push, half truths, at best, that the nicest way of saying it is it's all lies, but we'll call it half truths because that's how Esau Edom operates, he operates with he operates with sprinkling in lies with the truth, which ultimately turns the truth into a lie, right? And that's what the scripture also goes into that as well. That they are trying to turn the truth into a lie, but you can't do that. Okay, but let me see if I can get that preset real quick before I continue the video. And when that preset goes, trying to um I think that should be Romans. I think that should be Romans 1, because that's what I'm thinking about right now. Let me see if I can get that preset. Let me save the creature. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. Romans 1, verse 25. Who changed the truth of the Most High Yahweh, Barasham Yahweh, into a lie, and worshipped and served the creature more than the Creator, who is blessed forever. Amen. And that's what Esau Edom has done. He has changed the truth, okay? And we know that all truth comes from the Heavenly Father, the Most High Yahweh, Barasham Yahweh. But he has changed the truth about history, the truth about the prophecies, the truth about who the true people of the Most High Yahweh, Barasham Yahweh are, and turned it into a lie, which is why you now see the Ish people calling themselves the people of the Lord. And this is how it began. It starts with something small, like, an already established fact. And Esau starts embellishing it, he starts changing it up, he starts, changing the narrative concerning it. Okay. And all this is, of course, being done. It's a way to try to, you know, and basically that is Psalms 83 at work. They want to wipe the name of Israel out of remembrance, right? Remove it from our minds so that the house of Israel, the people of Israel will become no more. Even though Jake will exist on this planet, they will not believe, or even they don't want to accept that they are the Israelites according to the Bible. And as the scriptures say, if it wasn't for the Most High, Yahweh, Hashem, Yahushua waking up the men of the Lord, we would have been out here without all this knowledge that is being dropped on us right now. And because all these people out here, because you see this Jason Black is the same as Tariq Nasheed and the different other historians and black conscious people. Basically, the reason why you see them doing these videos and able to go into the documentary to bring out all this information about history and about the transatlantic slave trade and so on and so forth with the Hidden Colors and various other documentaries is because the men of the Lord, right? The books have been opened and the truth has sprung forth into the earth by way of the men of the Lord going out to the highways and byways and preaching this gospel. And this Jason Black, they always usually give some very light how do I say this right? How do I say this properly? Or basically, I know that he's watched the videos, he's watched the men of the Lord. He knows he's an Israelite because he always says some things that go into that as well, that follow or that follow or you know agree with the fact that he knows about the truth and he knows he's an Israelite. And all the people that he showed, in this thumbnail, Abba and Preach, Auntie Jenny and King Riches, that are all part of, King Riches and Auntie Jenny. That was the man and the woman on the right hand side. Let me make this a little bigger. Yeah. The man and the woman on the right hand side, they work with just pearly things. And Abba and Preach, everybody knows Abba and Preach. They all know they are Israelites. They all know they are Israelites as well. King Richard and Auntie Jenny, they are Nigerians like myself, but they're living in England, right? Because they migrated there. Abba and Preach, Abba and Preach. Abba, I think Abba is Ethiopian and Preach is Haitian. I always forget which is which, but one is Ethiopian, one is Haitian, and I believe that they are both Israelites, right? And of course, they know about this because they've seen the video, they've seen the men of the Lord, and even Jason Black, he also touches on something here that I think is important for Akion to know, right? And that is when it says that subscriber counts don't really matter on YouTube because what you'll find is that the algorithm is heavy boosting, you know, boosting the people that YouTube wants to push to you masses out there, masses of course being dead, which is why you see some YouTubers with hundreds of millions of followers, and they see the men of the Lord. YouTube is not pushing us in any way. Okay, you hardly see a brother's video on the front page of your YouTube, or you hardly see a brother's video recommended to you. The only reason why I even get brothers' videos notifications is because they are all I'm subscribed to, right? I don't really subscribe to any of these other channels. I just watch them in passing. Okay. But let's continue playing the video.
Earlier than I'm actually
You were on
supposed
time
to be
today.
because I thought I was supposed to be here at 3.
Oh, really?
That's why I texted you. I texted you I'm on my way because I thought I was already 10 minutes late when I was leaving.
Yeah, well, it's okay. Blessing was more late African.
Well, he's black.
Yeah.
I'm giving you a hard time. I don't mean.
No, he's really offended. But your argument was the Holocaust was not special and all countries have done that.
Yeah.
And so
exactly.
you're saying, why is the Holocaust special?
Yeah, basically.
Oh. Okay, what do you mean, basically?
Well, yeah, I mean, because of course, we're getting into the details of it, but yeah, that's the gist.
Yeah, I mean, but you kind of deny it happened.
Yeah, I deny some of the parts of it.
You deny parts of it don't seem realistic to you. You
Right.
think they were embellished upon.
I think they're embellished, yeah.
The same way. This sounds. Oh gosh.
Oh boy.
They're gonna
You're
be
gonna
in
get
trouble.
yourself
This sounds similar to the slavery stuff too, because that's literally the founder of, or the guy who made Root said, I wanted a myth for my people to live by. So they often, but that's what they do is they.
Does that sound like ignorant and uninformed to you all?
And that is the statement right there. After that's just even one of them because she continues on to make other statements concerning, slavery and concerning the oppression of our people. And basically what she's saying is she's comparing, she's trying to, and that's the new thing, right? Basically the transatlantic slave trade denial. In other words, they'll say, oh well, slavery wasn't that bad. And you even have Edomites that will say that there weren't actually any slaves, right? That Esau didn't put anybody in captivity, they were sharecroppers, so on and so forth. But if you actually go into the history of what happened during the transatlantic slave trade, and you see how these devils treated our people. Okay, well, first and foremost, that's how you know that. Oh yeah, that's definitely the devil right there, with all the evils that he was doing to our people during the during slavery, and how he made so much wealth, right? The revenue that was gotten from slavery, that's trillions of dollars right there. Which is why, I understand why, Jake in this world is trying to get their reparations going, right? Of course, it's not going to carry them anywhere, but now I can kind of get it. You have people that the only thing they really have is what is in this world, right? They don't have the truth. The Most High isn't dealing with them. Two thirds out to two thirds, right? I'm still going to tell you that, ultimately the reparations won't do you no good, because what's the point of getting a couple of $1 million in a world that is already burning? The cash is already burning. You see what's happening with the dollar right now. You all see what's happening with the dollar right now, But of course, but of course, they still want that money to come down ultimately, even if, even if the dollar is completely valueless. Well, at the end of the day, right, the only reparation that our people can truly receive is when our Lord Yahweh Shai returns, because that is when you understand, because they understand that that is the only payback, the only recompense that actually has any value. You get your dollars, right? You get your cash reparations, and you see the economy is falling right now. The dollar is, the dollar will probably become completely useless if this whole BRICS agenda actually pulls through. Okay, but we are going back to the topic here, which is basically, you have some people actually, referring to the statements that, this woman right here, Just Pearly Things, made, which of course you can clearly see how off she was in saying that, because now she's saying that, oh well, slavery wasn't as bad as what was depicted in the series Roots, right? And then I've actually watched Roots. You know that, all these movies about slavery that Esau Edom always does. Roots, 12 Years a Slave. I think the new one was that Emancipation by Will Smith. Okay, those were basically just a light retelling, right? They didn't want to go into too deep or too much or bring out too much graphic details about what actually happened during slavery, because the things that happened were far, far, far worse than what you see being told in these movies. But here she's saying that that the movies were actually far worse than it actually was. And that is the point right there. They speak loftily concerning oppression. They speak wickedly concerning oppression, right? They want to make it seem as though the suffering that our people suffered under Esau Edom, going all the way back to Greece and Rome with people like Dr. Michael Burnham and Volker Malone. Now they'll tell you that you're not an Israelite, so 70 AD didn't happen to you, right? The siege of Jerusalem, where so many of our people were slaughtered by these devils, it wasn't us that it happened to. When we had to become refugees and run to the west coast of Africa just to be safe, because the same thing was happening in Egypt as well, right? You think the Romans that were slaughtering people in Jerusalem would let them migrate to Egypt and be safe there? They were also getting Jake in Egypt as well, to the point where, even the whole of North Africa wasn't even safe, right? Because Esau was in control there as well. So the only place that would be safe from these devils is the west coast of Africa. Maybe you could run into East Africa as well and be safe. They could or if you are really paranoid and scared like me, you run all the way to the southern part of Africa. That's how people became scattered. And of course, you probably had some jakes that would run farther east, because no, wait, that wouldn't make sense, because that would be too far away. It would be easier to run to the west. After the Allah Yawashai said, flee to the mountains, because that part would be easier to escape to. But she might have had some of our people that would flee to the east, flee more towards India and going into Far East Asia, that kind of thing. Right. But anyway, I think I want to go back and play the video where you have Abba and Preach saying that the reason why, he's talking about, Jason Black here is talking about ignorance, and how, does this woman sound ignorant in her statements, is because you had Abba and Preach and so many other people, they're trying to justify her statements by saying that, oh, well, she doesn't understand what she's saying. She's just speaking out of ignorance, that kind of thing. But the point here, okay, and it's something that even Jason Black had to bring out, is that when Nick Fuentes said what he said about the Holocaust, right? You could already even hear the small hearts rubbing their hands stand about how they are going to cancel him and do this and that to him, which of course they already do to a certain degree. But you see that Nick Fuentes is out here actually factually denying the Holocaust and denying what happened during it, right? And I'm not going to say anything about the Holocaust, and you all can know why. Nick Fuentes can say whatever he wants about the Holocaust and nothing will happen to him. But a man of the Lord says what he wants to say. Or say Kyrie Irving, right, uploads shares a video on his Twitter bio, said nothing else, just shared a video on his Twitter. And, Nike cut their deal with him. He was suspended from the NBA, claimed to be an anti Semite. They hit him with all kinds of different accusations and railings and things like that, right? And he's far more influential, far more famous, far more rich and well connected than Nick Fuentes. Even Alex Jones, he said his own anti-Semitic things in the past. You see the difference in reception of how Jake is treated when they say things versus how Esau Edom is treated. But my whole point is this: if just Pearly Things had said what she said about our people, right, the captivity of our people, the transatlantic slave trade, about the small hearts, she would have been instantly accused of anti-Semitism, the same way the men of the Lord are accused of anti-Semitism every single day. As it is written, I might therefore become your enemy because I tell you the truth. Well, this world is a world, a kingdom built on lies and deceits because of unrighteous dealings. Yes, no, 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 no. I can't go ahead and quote that precept. I have to bring it out. I can't quote that precept. That precept is too good not to quote. That precept is too good not to bring out. Any chance I get, I could bring it out every single day because that's how fire that precept is. It is heat. Okay. Ecclesiasticus 10 verse 8. Because of unrighteous dealings, injuries, and riches got by deceit, the kingdom is translated from one people to another. And that is how Esau Edom got his power: lies and deceits, right? But yeah, and which is why whenever you speak the truth in this kingdom, you are a radical. Was it I forgot who made the quote that basically, because this kingdom is built with lies, the most radical thing you can do is teach the truth or speak the truth. Okay? That's why the men of the Lord are hated in this kingdom, because we give you the 100% truth, okay? 100% of the truth, and you people out of the world can deny and lie and try to weasel your way out of the truth. But ultimately, Romans 3 verse 3, right? Let every man be a liar, but the Most High Yahweh Bahasham Yahweh be the truth. And let me continue playing the video because there's one more clip I want to get, but let me see if I can find that clip.
That she can sit here and rattle off supposed names and dates and times of history. She can sit here and name off Alex Haley, the guy who wrote Roots. She can sit here and name Thomas Sowell and Candace Owens and Ben Shapiro and Nick Fuentes. At what point do have you seen enough evidence that it lets you know, hey, she knows exactly what she's saying? She is completely knowledgeable of what she's saying.
That's another thing that Esau Edom likes to do. When they get exposed for being devils and they like to play ignorant, like to pretend as if they don't know what they are talking about. They don't have the proper information, or they don't know the truth. Vocab Malone knows the truth. There is no way in hell that you can be out here and living in this world and not know, that we are the true Hebrew Israelites according to the Bible. Vocab knows that we are Jake. Vocab knows that we are the Israelites. Dr. Michael Brown knows that we are the Israelites. He knows that, the validity of this war heart is questionable at best. That's me being kind, saying questionable. The truth of the matter is that it is completely founded on nothing. Okay, completely false. But he knows who the true Israelites according to the scriptures are, because really, if you think about it, anybody that goes to the Middle East will instantly be able to tell who Jake is. Because once you see all the relics, once you see all the monuments, once you see even if there are not really that many artworks, but once you see all the relics and the monuments, you know that something's different here, right? And of course, when you go into the history, when you go into the prophecies, and you see all the and you go into all of that, you find out that we have to be the people. There is no other way around it. Okay, let's continue playing on. There's another point I wanted to get. Let me see if I can find it. Let me see if I can find it. Let me see. I don't know why I can't find it. What's going on? That's not it. That's not it. That's not it. I don't know why I can't
How
find
many
it.
passes you
I don't know why I can't find it. So okay, hold on. Let me try and see if I can find it. It was this video right here. Not this one. This one. This one, yes. This is the video I'm thinking about. Let me go back a little bit.
Oh, she's just ignorant. Oh, up one side and down the other, don't know a name. She's got going on and on and on about all the chapter and verse. She knows Thomas Sowell up one side and down the other. Jason individual you can name. She studied it in
Okay, I'm trying
details.
to find that video. I'm trying to find that part. No, I'm not seeing it. Right here.
Features.
Still not seeing it. And then hold on. Let me try and start from the front on the top. Right here.
Orions.
I'm in there, like.
Okay, here it is.
Now you all tell me something here.
I just think she just doesn't know what the fuck she's talking about, which is true for many of the subjects that she talks on.
There you have it. The
Now you
quote
all
of her
tell me
being
something.
ignorant, that she does not know what she's talking about. Well, let's continue playing.
Does this sound like somebody who is, quote, ignorant, isn't well read, hasn't studied up on it? Does this sound like somebody who is just ignorant and hasn't studied up on anything?
And like, and there was, and all the like whippings or whatever, like that stuff. Like it was just common there. Like the white people were whipped too.
Now,
That's
just because
actually
someone
false.
is spouting propaganda, when she's saying it over and over again, when she is able to name chapter and verse, when she is able to tell you all the names of every bootlicking Negro, but she can't name any of the black elder scholars of history, you can name all the alt-right. She doesn't know, Dr. Never
Let me
heard
just
of it.
continue playing.
But
It continues on.
she's-
Let me just try
That's
and
not a
get to that point, but it continues on. She continues on to say some other things.
person who is ignorant, sir. That's not ignorance. That's propaganda. That's white supremacy. That's racism. But that is the exact opposite of ignorance. But I know there's a problem here. Start hearing some.
Hold on, so okay, let me try and find it. All these things are broken apart. Let me try and find it. Well, basically, she goes on to say that, basically, she goes on to say that, even during the transatlantic slave trade, you had Esau Edom also getting beaten the same way that Jake was in the plantation, because this is another thing that Esau Edom wants to do. They want to make it seem as though it's the other Edomites were out there with Jake picking cotton as well, or the other things that they were doing. It wasn't just cotton; it was tobacco, it was sugar, right? Sugar that was in the Americas, that's South America, Brazil, Cuba, and the other slave colonies that were in the southern part of America, or rather in South America. But in North America, you had tobacco and cotton being the major, being the major, I want to say, form of slave labor, or basically that was the major thing that you had the slaves like that at that time working on. But she wants to make it seem as though Israel was right there with us, picking cotton with us, right? Well, anyway, it is the same history anyway. Picking cotton with the slaves, okay, picking farming sugar and farming tobacco with the slaves, when actuality what you had these Edomites doing, it was more supervisor roles, because you see, in order to push that agenda that we were inferior, that we were supposed to be the slaves, the slave Bible, right? That we were the sons of Canaan. And this is all recorded history that you can go and look up. And unlike just pearly things, the sources are available everywhere. That we are the Canaanites, right? That we were deserved to be put into slavery. They would not put their own people, the fellow white people, and the other Malcolm goes into this as well. Before the formation of America, you already had the terminology of white established. And because that terminology of white was established, everybody that was deemed non-white in America at the time, so that was the dark-skinned, Northern Kingdom and Southern Kingdom as well, and they were deemed as black, right? And with that terminology, with that new race of people called whites, they came in laws and legislation in order to protect and to give them, more resources of the land. So now, because you are white, you actually had rights. Because you have to remember, up until the civil rights movement, that is the 1960s, Jake did not have any rights in Babylon the Great. You could not sue an Edomite. You could not, if an Edomite came into your house and took everything that was in it and left, you could not do anything against him. There was a reason why there were so much segregated spaces, right? The portions of America that belonged to Jake was underfunded and completely ignored by the government, while the portions of that world that were, so much history, so much wickedness, showing you that Esau Edom is truly the base one of the earth, is truly the devil. But yet they want to ignore all this history, which is why they are coming against critical race history so much. They're coming against anything that exposes their wickedness, exposes what they did in the past, especially what they did to our people. They are trying to silence all these voices, especially the men of the Lord, because nobody exposes Esau Edom's crimes like the men of the Lord, okay? Like we that are in this truth, because we will tell you your whole, we give Esau Edom his entire discography, okay? All the way back to the Garden of Eden. And these devils, they're like, shit, they know, right? Some people will only give you recent history. Oh, well, up until the transatlantic slave trade, which was not a long time ago. That's just recent history. Or I'm giving you from the beginning of time, all your crimes, all your sins, all the way up till now. So who do you think is the bigger threat, right? And they were telling the people of the world the judgment that you will receive, that you have been trying to hide, okay, that you have been trying to run away from, which is ultimately, that's at Obadiah 1 verse 9, that you will gather up the house of Esau and burn them with fire, and the house of Esau shall be for stubble, right? Let me go and get that real quick. That is Obadiah 1, and I've forgotten, is it 1 verse 9 or 1 verse 18? Or bring it out ultimately that you don't mind to be rounded up and destroyed. That is after the slavery that you have to experience, after the slavery that you have to experience, because now Romans 13 verse 10 comes into play again. Isaiah 14 2 verse 3 comes into play. We shall rule over our oppressors. So now, here it is. Obadiah 1 verse 9. And thy mighty men, O T man, shall be dismayed, to the end that every one of the mount of Esau may be cut off by slaughter. For thy violence against thy brother Jacob, shame shall cover thee, and thou shalt be cut off forever. In the day that thou stoodest on the other side, in the day that the strangers carried away captive his forces, and foreigners entered into his gates and cast lots upon Jerusalem, even thou wast one of them. That's right. And don't think that it's only Esau Edom that the Most High has smoke for in this situation, because all of our people that were involved in our captivity, all of you heathen that were involved in our captivity, the Most High is coming for you too as well. You Hamites that sold our people into slavery, you Ishmaelites that traded in our people with Esau Edom, not just in the transatlantic slave trade, let's make that clear, but also in the past as well. The siege of Babylon, right? The fall of Jerusalem during 70 AD, the fall of Masada. You are all going to pay for that. You're all going to go into captivity for that. You're all going to pay as well. But we speak about Esau Edom because he is the major enemy and he is the one in the ruler's seat right now. Okay. Because Esau also uses this as an excuse. You also have Arab, Arabs sold black people into slavery as well. Black people sold other black people into slavery as well. Yes, they did. But who was making the money? Who was holding the bag, right? Who was making all the cash and the revenue? Ultimately, I'm not coming from a point of, oh well, Esau needs to run, Esau needs to, needs to run Esau's pockets for our own money. No, I'm coming from the point of wait till my Lord comes back and he's going to run those pockets for me. Because you know that the scriptures say that all that Esau Edom has eaten, that's from all the way back to the Babylonian captivity. He will spew everything out. Okay. So you jakes out there, you're thinking of a couple of million. I'm thinking of, bars, baby. I'm thinking of not a couple of million. I'm thinking of a land, whole lands, trillions in actual assets. Okay. That's land. That's gold, right? That you are stolen from the nations, keep everything together, Fort Knox, that kind of thing. Um, Precious metals, actual resources. That's what I'm thinking about. Okay, when I'm thinking about reparations, I'm not thinking about a cash payment. Okay, or you just wire a couple of million into these accounts. What 2/3 are going to 2/3. I'm not actively against the reparations because I know that that's all these 2/3 have. Right, there's nothing else that you can really go on. But we that are in this truth, we have a greater hope. Okay, each side is going to run a when we talk about running inside those pockets, I'm not talking about, collecting a drop from a bucket. I'm talking about taking the whole bucket and the water that is in the bucket and the nigga that fetched the water, right? Or that stole the water and the bucket from us. So our own reparations is going to be Esau and all his riches, not just a portion of it. So yeah, and that's fair enough because that is fair, right? But let's continue on. I think next one is Obadiah 1 verse 19. Basically going into Obadiah 1 verse 18, sorry. Obadiah 1 verse 18, and the house of Jacob shall be a fire, and the house of Joseph a flame, and the house of Esau for stubble, and they shall kindle in them and devour them, and there shall not be any remaining of the house of Esau, for Yahweh hath spoken it. So after you serve your captivity, right, for the 1,000 years, then cometh your destruction. Ultimately being rounded up and destroyed. Okay. For all the wickedness that you have done against our people, and how you can come out here and say so brazenly, so easily, freely leaving your lips that all the wickedness that you have done, you make light of it. And this is what these devils always do. Whenever you go online, you always see some demonic ass Edomites. They always joke about all the wickedness that they have done all throughout the earth, even to the heathen, right? Because we are always out here complaining about what Esau did to our people. But but Esau also, what the other nations have also tasted of this devil's treachery. And Esau Edom is just out here, because basically what he's thinking is, let's get that, let's get that. Of course, now that preset goes. So basically, I'll just use 10 times brighter than the sun, right? The wicked is doing their wicked, thinking, who seeth me and who knoweth what I'm doing? What they don't understand is that the eyes of the Most High, Yahweh Basham Yahushai, and let me get that, the eyes of the Lord, right, are 10,000 times brighter than the sun. Hold on. I don't understand why this precept doesn't want to come out. You know what? Send me, I was checking the Apocrypha. Maybe that's why. in the King James, the Apocrypha. Let me just check there. There it is. All right, yeah. Ecclesiasticus 23, and I'll start from verse 18. A man that breaketh wedlock, saying thus in his heart, who seeth me? I am compassed about with darkness. The walls cover me, and nobody seeth me. What need I to fear? The Most High will not remember my sins. And basically, this is me in this context of this, or the precept I'm talking about, all the treaties and peace treaties and deals that Esau made with our people, right? With Jake, especially with the Northern Kingdom when they were in the Americas, because if you actually go into the history, the first settlers, I think that's in the 17th century, that is the 1600s or so, right? I think they settled first in Virginia, the state of Virginia, basically, because for the first settlers, they had to be taken care of by the guard during the time in Northern Kingdom because they couldn't farm, they couldn't harvest their own resources, they couldn't do anything, right? So they had to be taught how to till, how to farm the land, how to grow crops, how to rear the animals by God, and ultimately, you saw how they got you saw how the Northern Kingdom got treated by Esau Edom even after doing so much to help them, right? With Christopher Columbus and the reverse and the triangular slave trade. That was what I was thinking about. Yes, the triangular slave trade and other things like that. So he will make all these peace treaties with the Northern Kingdom tribes and then eventually break them, right? He talked about how the Southern Kingdom was quote unquote emancipated, right? But he ultimately broke that treaty as well, because even though you are made to be free men, you did not have the same rights as Esau Edom. You still do not to this day, because it was written into law, I believe, that you know Jake was 3/5 of a man, which the claim was that it was repealed in the 14th Amendment. And I really went into this history, but in the 14th Amendment, there's not really any legislation that specifically states that the black man, okay, which is the term that Esau would use, but Jake, for the most part, is no longer 3/5 of a man. But let's continue reading. Ecclesiasticus 23, verse 19. Such a man only feareth the eyes of men, and knoweth not that the eyes of Yahweh are 10,000 times brighter than the sun, beholding all the ways of men and considering the most secret parts. Basically, Esau thinks that he's going to get away scot free, right? And the Most High is, either the Most High is not seeing them, or that the Most High does not matter enough for Esau to worry about the consequences of the judgments for his action. And you have that demon, Yuval, Noah, Harari, or so, and how much they has mocked the Most High. Oh well, we don't need the Lord anymore. We don't need to worry or be scared of the Most High. We can, because we can do this and do that and do, so many of these, they are Edomitish, devilish miracles that the scriptures warned you about, right? Which is what they believe, but ultimately, the Most High Yahweh Yahushua will come and, well, the scriptures say, and let me get that, that the Most High, that was an alarm, because this is already that time. It's already early in the morning, but let me just get this preset. How does that precept go again? And the Most High sits in his throne. Let all the earth. The Most High is sitting on his throne. Let all the earth be silent before him. Now let's get that. I guess he's not silent, but let me try quiet. Alright, let me try this. I don't know, I can't find these precepts. Yeah, I can't find these precepts. So okay. But basically, good, the Most High sitting on his throne, let all the earth be quiet before him. Right, and ultimately, the historian can say whatever he wants. Ultimately, right now, historian can say what he wants about the Most High and go scot free, right, without consequence. But the scriptures say, the Most High Yahweh Hashem Yahushua is not mocked. Let's get that. And of course, I want to get two precepts. And the Most High Yahweh Hashem Yahushua is not mocked, and you will sow what you reap, and every idle word you shall give an account for it at the coming of our Lord Yahushua. Galatians 6 verse 7. Be not deceived, the Most High is not mocked, for whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap. And as the scriptures say, you shall give account for every idle word that you speak in this kingdom, right? So you devils might think that you can say whatever you want to say right now. You can do whatever you want to do. But this is the book of Matthew 12, verse 36. But I say unto you that every idle word that men shall speak, they shall give account thereof in the day of judgment. For by thy words thou shalt be justified, and by thy words thou shalt be condemned. So if you want to see that we are not the true people of the Lord, if you want to try to deny us our heritage, which is basically true anti-Semitism, if you think about it, then you want to say that different parts of our history or the captivity that we have suffered in this kingdom is embellished upon. Oh well, it didn't really happen like that. Oh, now you're just now you're just what's the word I'm looking for? Now you're just adding to it, you're just making it worse than it actually is. Okay, that kind of thing. Well, you know, well, let me just leave it like that. Well, time will come, we'll see whether you can still continue to say that, because the people of this world, man, they are proud right now. The most that you have, Hashem Yahshua isn't looking at them face to face. There's no terror. The fear of the Lord, the terror of the Lord has been taken out of the earth. So people are out here, all proud and puffed up, talking as they like. But we'll see if they keep talking that way when our Lord Yahushua returns. That's what I'm waiting for, man. Let my Lord return. Let my Lord return. You people out here will see what it really is. Let my Lord return. Oh, I also you can know the feeling. You know what I'm talking about. Let my Lord return first. So with that, I'll end the video right there. All praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Ba'asham Yahawashi, Ba'asham Rakak Wadash, Wa Abad Baba. And through the Spirit of you, Akim Yakwatha edified. Shalom.